So Jalen Milroe, what's really up here?
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA's radio network. Luke Robinson, that's me. Bama Online's Jimmy Stein, that's him. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Thank you, everydayers, for joining us every day. And thank you, newbies, for making this your first listen every day, too, or eventually if you're new. Jimmy, the question that's on everybody's mind, yesterday we talked about on the podcast, is Jalen Milroe hurt? He certainly looked a little at least dinged, but as one of the guys on SportsCenter used to say, when anybody would release something, hey, so-and-so's day-to-day, he'd go, aren't we all? I wonder if there's something else going on with Milroe, because there are some I don't know how trustworthy they are, but I know that they are popular posters on various message boards, Tyler Insider being one, that some folks have said, hey, this is not just an injury thing. This may be a personality thing. I don't necessarily want to go there because, again, I've been singing the man's praises. I've met Jalen Milroe. Granted, it was a 15-minute conversation. Super guy. I felt like he should be the ambassador of our program because he's such a good dude. But I can't also help but notice the body language when things aren't going well. Yeah, on the sidelines.
I'm with the body language thing. I wonder if Milroe is the type of guy. Look, in basketball, we use this term all the time, but we don't use it in football, and I don't know why. But in basketball, they say a team, they're front runners. If they're playing well, everything is going great, and they play great. And if something goes wrong, they just kind of go in the toilet. And maybe Milroe's a little bit like that, personality-wise. Maybe. Things have mostly gone well when he's been the quarterback, so we don't have a ton of experience with it not going well. In terms of what's up with him, I mean, DeBoer, look, he looks hurt to me. That's why I think both throwing and running, I think he's lacking a little burst that he had earlier this season. I think the consistently high throws towards the sideline that were so consistent on Saturday, consistently bad, consistently, but he was missing. It wasn't like he was throwing some at their feet and some to the left and some to the right. He was throwing it right at them. He's just sailing it over their head time and time and time and time again. That to me indicates that he's hurt. And then when asked about it at the press conference, DeBoer didn't deny it. He just used more words to not say much. But DeBoer basically said, well, you play 7 college football games, everybody's hurt. So in other words, yeah, he's hurt. Now, is he so hurt that it should have been that bad? My answer to that is no. There's more to it than just he's banged up. Him being banged up is responsible, I think, for some of what we saw. But all of it, no. Some of that's just on him playing bad. And I've talked about this before in relation to Jahad Campbell and Deontay Lawson earlier this season. There's a difference between a bad player and a good player who plays badly. Milroe played badly on Saturday. Doesn't mean that this is what you get every week. As a matter of fact, we know for a fact it's not what you get every week because this was the lowest QBR rating of his 21 starts. So he played badly. Give Tennessee some credit. Give the environment some credit. He's banged up. He needs that bye week to get back to totally feeling great. And I think he just added all up, and it was a poor night.
Yeah, definitely a poor night. And you're right. I think that's a great point about, difference between a bad player and a good player playing badly. And it is very difficult. I mean, and here's the other thing, none of us are around him 24/7. None of us are around him at practice all the time. Tyler Booker came out and said, hey, yeah, he's fine. Now, I mean, he said he's as fine as any of us can be at this point in the season.
I'm just saying, can you imagine a player breaking quarterback injury news?
Yeah. I mean, we're not far from that, though.
I get that Booker said it. I'm just saying, I put the moment it came out of his mouth, I put 0 credibility in it. And then literally just 40 minutes later, DeBoer's behind the podium, giving people more of a closer to real answer, that. But Booker, those players are scared to death saying something wrong. So, that I just wouldn't put any credence in that at all.
Yeah. And again, I go back to, I know a lot of it's message board fodder, and you're like, why even report on it? Because it is strange. It's not like it's message board fodder without anything to back it up. It is message board fodder with, hey man, something's going on when you play as poorly as he did in that Tennessee game. And where his backup plan should be, I'm going to run more, and he ran actually a little less. Something's going on.
Yeah, the way he ran. To me, it's just watching the games. He's lacking a little burst. It's not all of a sudden he's slow or he can't run. I think he was a foot away from running 70 yards for a touchdown the other on that 4th and 1 play. He would have outraced everyone to the. So he's healthy enough. He just lacks just a half a step. And again, no one's going to hire me to be a quarterback coach in the NFL. But it just seems to me that when all of your throws are consistently inaccurate in one spot, then it's mechanical. So did Jalen all of a sudden change his mechanics? Or is the more likely explanation, hey, when I do it the normal way, it hurts. So I got to do it a little different. and boy, then all of a sudden the balls are sailing, or in other cases, they could all be worm burners, or in other cases, they could all go to the right or all go to the left. His were sailing. I think that's a mechanical thing, and I doubt very seriously it's the result of a mechanical change.
We are in a bit of a pickle here, because here's the thing. We have no more leeway. We have no more gimmies. We have no more forgiveness, any of that. And so I get it. If Jalen Milroe is hurt or is having some kind of, I don't know, emotional or mental thing. And again, if it's not physical, if it's mental, whatever it is, I don't know. See, we're not playing Mercer this weekend. We're playing Missouri, who's not terrible. No, they're pretty good. And so we can't afford to lose it. So do you really want Ty Simpson coming in and giving Milroe a rest, even though the rest would be fantastic to give him an extra week to end the bye week to get ready for LSU, which is now look, they're all must wins from here on out. But of the must wins, LSU is the must of musts. You cannot lose that and even have a hope or a prayer to make the playoffs. And there are people who get in the comments and say, why are y'all talking about playoffs? Because there still is an opportunity. Let's not pretend like Alabama has no shot at this thing. They have a shot to get in.
They definitely do. I even saw a question that blew my mind. Someone thought that 10-2 Alabama's the playoff is over. That's not even close to true. If Alabama wins out, ESPN,
they're in.
Here's where ESPN is wrong. ESPN says if Alabama wins out, they have a 98% chance to make the playoff. They're wrong. It's 100%. It's 100% if they win out from here. Now, 100%. Now, losing again is where all of a sudden the numbers start looking a little different. But heck, as a matter of fact, per ESPN's playoff predictor, and I don't put a ton of weight into it, but I put some weight into it. They say if Alabama wins out, there's a 68% chance Alabama's hosting a first-round playoff game if you win out. So Luke's right in that sense. Now, I think what the other side of the coin here is, which is also correct, is Alabama's not going to make the playoff playing like they did against Tennessee. You ain't going to make the playoff because you're going to lose again. You're going to lose probably going to lose this week, to say nothing of LSU. So Alabama's got to play better. That needs to be the focus, is playing better. Missouri's a very good team. They're fourth in the SEC in total defense. They're 5-1. They're a ranked team. They got dudes that are going to be a real problem for Alabama's secondary. Luther Burden and Theo Weiss, they're not good players for Missouri. They're good players for college football. They're high-value NFL prospects that will be playing football for a very long time, and they're going to give Alabama's DBs all they can handle and more, just like they give everybody's DBs that. Brady Cook's a dang good player, too. For those, I think there's a lot of Alabama fans that don't see Missouri or don't watch Missouri, they're probably going to be shocked at how good Brady Cook is. He's a legitimate good quarterback. Now, he's banged up too. And then we'll see what happens. We're going into a game where I think both quarterbacks are banged up a little bit, but I fully expect to see Brady Cook, fully expect to see Jalen Milroe. But to Luke's earlier point, I do think this is a game where you're more likely to see Ty Simpson than you would have at Tennessee, where really that would have been a baptism by fire. And you know, you have to be careful with Ty Simpson's confidence too, because there's a good chance he'll be the starting quarterback next year. And sending Ty into a situation where more than likely it could get ugly. That wouldn't be doing Ty any favors or next year's team any favors. Now, this week's different. Missouri, you're at home, easier environment, not quite that Tennessee defense and their crazy good pass rush. I do think there's a better likelihood you see Ty if Jalen continues to struggle to the extent that he did in Knoxville.
Let's talk a little Roy. Hey, Locked On Bama fans, it's time to recognize the Roy Player of the Week. So far this season, we've pooled over $20,000 to support players on Roy. Micro deposits lead to massive change. With the Roy app, you can direct your support to the athletes you love, ensuring that all funds go to the specific player you choose. Unlike collectives, you know exactly where your support is going. And you even receive exclusive content like personal videos and updates after the season. The best part is risk-free. If the athlete transfers or doesn't deliver the content, you get your money back. This week, I'm supporting Malachi Moore, and I'd love for you to join me. Even $10 makes a difference. Let's show Malachi Moore the love and keep him connected to our school. Remember, pay today, celebrate tomorrow. Your support sets the team up for success. Don't miss out on Roy's exciting giveaway. Win 2 tickets to a game in November. Just download Roy, create an account, and enter your referral code Locked On, and you're entered. Already on Roy, any contribution to an athlete's campaign also gets you entered automatically. No purchase necessary, void where prohibited. Download Roy now and join the NIL game with no subscriptions, no fees, and be sure to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Roy_return_on-you. For more info, that's where you go check out those things, and you will find out more info on Roy, and it's awesome. Go check it out. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Ryan Williams and his 18 targets this past weekend. I had a friend of the program, Jay Barnes. Wait a minute. No, let's call him Jamie B. He contacted me. I love doing that every time. It's a Simpsons reference that some will get and some won't. I don't care. But Jamie contacted me yesterday, and we talked a little bit. And we talked about the targets. And I said, you know, 18 targets. I bet you, I don't know that Devontae, I hadn't even found this part out yet. I should. I bet Devontae Smith wasn't targeted 18 times. Now, he might have been in the national championship game against Ohio State had he not gotten hurt at the very beginning of the second half. He got hurt. He already had a gazillion yards, a gazillion catches, a gazillion touchdowns. And I think the plan was, we're going to Devontae Smith y'all to death, and like purposefully. But he got hurt, so he didn't. But then I thought, okay, what's another time that somebody even I thought might have gotten 18 targets? And the first thing that came to my mind was Amari Cooper against Florida in 2014. He had 10 catches for like 201 yards or something that day, 3 touchdowns. Do you know how many targets he got that day?
13.
13. Who told you? Jerk.
Kind of looked at this. And Blake Byler from BOL looked at it, and so I had a discussion with Blake about this thing too. I think Devontae was right at 18 targets in the game you're referencing too. So you nailed it in terms of like, okay, one other, you nailed it. Devontae right at 18, Amari, and
what about DJ Hall against Tennessee in 07? That was the other one that came to mind.
We didn't throw the ball 50 times or something in that game. It probably wouldn't have been 18. But look, my thing with Milroe is when you are lacking confidence, and I think that's an issue with Jalen right now, not feeling great, lacking confidence. As a quarterback, you either know or you hope, right? You know, as in, I know this is where you go with the ball. Hey, I know I'm coached. I know I go here. It feels like Jalen was doing too much hoping on Saturday. I'm just going to throw it up near Ryan and hope he comes down with it. I'm going to, hey, let's use Ryan on these 50-50 balls. Here's one thing about 50-50 balls, Luke. They're not actually 50-50. First of all, it depends on where you throw it. The ball placement determines the 50-50 percentage. You can throw it in an area where your receiver is more likely to catch it than the other guy, or you can throw it in an area where the DB is more likely to catch it than the wide receiver. There's really no 50-50 ball to it. There's just a lot of hoping. And I think Jalen, too many times, the play call would come in, and then you have a primary receiver, and then Jalen watches how the defense lines up, and Jalen goes, okay, I'm just going to Ryan here, without seeing it first. And by seeing it first, meaning seeing that Ryan's available or a legitimate target on the play. I think there was just too much hoping. And Alabama, Tim Watts made this point at BOL. So, look, Jeremy Bernard's a good player. I mean, Jeremy's good. You know who else is good? Kendrick Law, Caleb Odom, Emmanuel Henderson, Cole Adams. These are all pretty talented kids.
I noticed one guy you didn't say.
Kobe Prince?
Yeah.
He only played 3 snaps.
What's going on there?
Oh, he's been hurt for 3 weeks. You know, for I think the 2 games prior to this, he didn't play at all. He was able to come back a little bit, played 3 snaps in this game. I think there's a good chance now he'll be closer to full health, and we'll see more of Kobe. But that's just a good example of, hey, there's one more good player. And, hey, I'm all for Ryan being a huge part of things. Heck, I'm waving that flag. But Saturday was an over-dependence and Jalen doing too much hoping and not enough knowing.
Yeah, that's a good point. And one other thing that should be brought up, I don't know if it was determined if it was fake or not, but Caleb Odom retweeted some things about Caleb Odom not getting the ball. Now, was that fake or not fake? Some people
I think that was real. I think there's some real frustration there. But, you know, people will make too much of it. Hey, you know, fans and players, there's not the gulf that y'all think there might be. When y'all are frustrated, guess who's frustrated too? And it means just as much. In fact, it means even more to them and their happiness and their families and their careers. There's some real frustration. And if y'all are frustrated as fans, then you can bet your butts that they're frustrated too.
Bet your butts.
Yeah, I couldn't say the other thing, right?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either. I probably could.
Probably could. I mean, we could. It says synonym for a mule or a donkey or something, right?
Almost said bet your bottom dollar, and I thought, boy, what is this? 1910?
Well, first of all, that would have been actually a lot better.
It would have been. You can bet your bottom dollar.
I've said it a bunch. I don't know. I'm still really confused that Marquise Mays, who I love Marquise Mays. I think he's fantastic. I remember him fondly. Number 4 in your program, number 1 in your heart. He apparently had never heard the old saying, inmates run the asylum. And he took it he made it into a thing that it wasn't. I won't go into it. And I thought, I mean, that's just an old cliche. That needs to get straightened out.
The cliche is so old. There literally used to be mental asylums that don't really exist anymore, like Arkham, on Batman. I mean, that's the most famous asylum, and it's fiction. Arkham on Batman. That's literally what it means.
In terms of us, it's the second most, right behind Bryce.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly.
Let me tell you all about FanDuel. I just made that up. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live, play-by-play, and so much more on the same page, the very same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's only at FanDuel.com because FanDuel is the best. And, of course, as I said earlier, it is America's #1 sports book. Some recruiting stuff. I know Jackson Cantwell will be in this weekend.
Dude.
Yeah, the number 2 player in the country for 2026.
We're supposed to say 5-star plus at On 3. I still like 6-star. Yeah. They almost did that. When they invented 5-star plus, when they invented that nomenclature, I happen to know they considered 6-star instead of 5-star plus.
5-star plus does sound better to me because here's the problem. When you go to 6-star, now it's just inevitable you're going to go to 7-star.
And for those that don't know what it means it's the On 3 term for when all 4 major recruiting services, when all 4 of them say you're a 5-star, then you're a 5-star plus.
Well, what's what do you think let's start with him. He's from Missouri. What do you think Alabama's chances are here?
Good considering. Considering he's the best offensive tackle in the country in his class. So gosh, the bids, I mean, gosh, that's an NIL situation, I'm sure, out of control. So you got that to deal with. Secondly, he's not from here, as I like to say in recruiting. Geography is still a factor in recruiting. It used to be when me and Luke were kids growing up, geography was the #1 factor when it came to recruiting, but that's no longer the case, but it is still a factor. So I think when you throw those things in, massive NIL, he ain't from here. I wouldn't say that Alabama is some sort of favorite to get him, but I do know that Alabama is very much in the thick of things for him. And just the fact that he's coming to the game means a lot, but he's also from Missouri and he's going to the Missouri game, at Alabama. So read into that what you will, but Alabama definitely in this. And he is absolutely a dude's dude.
Okay. So another couple of guys coming in, Donovan Starr and Anquan Fagans. One of them, both of them committed to Auburn. And Donovan is from Tennessee, a defensive back that has really been shooting up the charts here. And then Anquan Fagans, who is, one of the top players in the state of Alabama, a safety. If I were him, I would at least give Alabama a shot about, hey, need some safety help. How about helping a brother out? Because, by the way, we hadn't even talked about Keon Sabb going to be out for a bit, and that is scary stuff considering we got LSU coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah, and LSU throws the ball extremely well. I can't speak more highly of Garrett Nussmeier than I do. I think Garrett Nussmeier is not just good, but in my opinion, he's elite. He's going to be a great pro. I think Nussmeier is exactly the kind of guy where you need Keon Sabb. So there's going to be a lot on Bray Hubbard. Bray Hubbard is the player that most likely is going to replace Sabb in the lineup. I thought Hubbard played really well at Tennessee, but now you got to prepare and play as a starter, and he's going to have these elite receivers to deal with from Missouri and then a very elite quarterback to deal with against LSU. So there's a lot on Bray Hubbard, and Luke's right to point that out. That's a massive story there, no doubt. As far as those DBs visiting, I think Alabama's got a real chance with both. I would say less than 50-50 as it relates to flipping Fagans, less than 50-50. I would still give Auburn a 60 to 70% chance there. But, man, Alabama has such an easy pitch to Fagans, right? There's no safeties in this class. We need safeties. You're 45 minutes up the road. We're a better program than they are right now. There's a lot to the pitch, and let's see if they can turn Fagans on that. But at BOL, we don't have this on Flip Watch, not yet.
I'm intrigued that it's even a possibility to be on Flip Watch.
Yeah, for a long time it wasn't. I think the Alabama pitch is so obvious that it's gotten their attention. So, and I like Fagans as a player. I mean, period.
Yeah, he's a good player.
My mind didn't change. I mean, I'm not the type that changes my mind because a kid's going to go somewhere else. I've liked Fagans from the start.
I like him.
The reason I like Fagans specifically as a prospect, Luke, is to me, he's the modern safety, because in the old days, the safeties were like Marcus Spencer, a guy we had that we used to call the night train, and big hitters like Mark Barron or Landon Collins, and guys that would light you up across the middle. Well, football's changed. Now your safeties need to be bigger cornerbacks. They're corners, but they're bigger. And that to me is Fagans. Fagans is an excellent cover safety. And that's what you need in 2024.
Want to talk a little bit about Bama in the NFL. First of all, last night was just Bama-rific. I mean, Marlon Humphrey gets 2 picks. Now, he does go out. He gets hurt on the second pick, but he gets 2 picks. I mean, good for him. And then Derrick Henry, another 81-yard run. He didn't end up scoring. He got a guy had an angle on him and caught up with him, but it was almost like a 90-something yard touchdown again. He did have a receiving touchdown. He had 160-something yards rushing. This guy's just ridiculous. I mean, it used to be, I wonder if he'll get in the Hall of Fame. Now it's like, what color gold jacket does he actually like? Should we gild it? Yeah, he's just incredible, man. He just is. And, another good day all around. I mean, Josh Jacobs had a good day. Amari Cooper made an impact with Buffalo that he got traded to. So just good to see Bama's doing well all over the place in the NFL. I did want to read one more thing this is not Bama related, but it's hilarious to me. This is from Matthew McConaughey. He put this on his social media. Have you seen this, Jimmy?
No. I'm intrigued. I'm already laughing and smiling because for whatever reason, I find McConaughey unintentionally hilarious. Unintentionally hilarious. I mean, I just laugh at him a lot.
This is what he said. Longhorn Nation, and specifically our DKR student section. MOC, which I think, what does that mean? Minister of Culture, McConaughey, coming at you here. First off, you were electric Saturday night when we hosted Georgia. Bravo. Let's continue to bring it. Even though our horns,
you're doing a bit of a McConaughey impersonation here. It's a bit of one. You're reading it. It's not like good like Wes Blankenship from On 3 does an unbelievable McConaughey impression. You're not quite there, but I can tell you're doing McConaughey. So bravo, because I can tell that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I can't do the accent necessarily, but I'm trying to read it as though he were saying
I had to give you the shout out before you even finished because I'm like, I can tell that's McConaughey. That's good.
Even though our horns didn't get the W, you created a measurable home field advantage. But let's get real about the bottle bombing, the field glitch we had. Not cool. Bogey move. Bogey move. Yeah.
I am using that probably daily for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that call was BS. But we're better than that. Longhorn Nation knows how to show up, show out like no other, and still keep our class. So going forward, let's clean that kind of BS up and leave that behind us for good. We have to shake our hands on that. Next up, November 9th, when the Gators come to town, let's make sure they feel the heat. They can't hear the play calls and burn their timeouts. But remember, nothing hits our field except that Texas fight. Till then, root hard and hook 'em. And if you want to catch me, I'll be in my Lincoln. I added that last part. McConaughey.
Hook 'em.
How that guy
Hook 'em.
gets any woman on the planet with posts like that.
I don't think he comes at him with posts.
I think he just shows up shirtless, like, all right.
I think that's exactly what he does.
And all of a sudden, they're like,
that works.
His posts really aren't that bad.
That I told you, that's exactly what I said. He is, it was funny because the way you read it was really good. But he is unintentionally hilarious.
It's bad.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Yeah, if y'all don't follow him, Wes Blankenship, who works for the Georgia site for On 3, he does a killer McConaughey, and he is going to be, as soon as we're done here, I'm going straight to his Twitter account because he's going to be all over this. I'm going to tell you this. I've figured it out. All McConaughey is Roll Tide Willie with abs. Which is another life-changing thing because I just decided that Roll Tide Willie is our minister of culture.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. I veto.
Yeah. That was too on the nose.
Yeah, that was too on the nose. It hurt a little bit. All right, that's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.